live. Here goes the record. And you are good to go.
All right, we're back. Terry and Gary's Low Expectations podcast. And today we have the evil pirate queen herself, Diva Talks, Hilary Shepard. How you doing, Hilary?
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
No, Terry is. You probably made him pee a little bit.
Yes. There
I have the effect on men. They always pee when they see me.
I don't know how to respond to that.
I don't either. Don't. Just don't.
Right. I'll just leave it be. Well, now, thank you for coming on the podcast. We were supposed to do it last week, but I had to fly out to North Carolina. My apologies. And now, where are you at right now?
I'm in Southern California.
Okay. So the weather is very nice.
You know what? It wasn't nice this weekend. It was so fun. It rained. We were so happy. I'm sick of like the warm weather, but now it's getting a little fall-like, a little bit 60s. I put on my hat, my sweater. It's like 65.
Right. It's always nice when you can put a sweater on. Now you're from New York, right?
Yes, I'm from Long Island, and I left it when I was 16 to go to Northwestern in Chicago or outside of Chicago. And then I moved I transferred to USC, and then I've been out here ever since.
Okay. Now, as far as Chicago and New York, they kind of have the same weather as Michigan, and we're from Detroit.
New York, yeah. Chicago's gnarly. That was way worse than New York. That wind. Right. We had ropes where we'd have to hang on to go to classes, and I remember hanging onto a rope, getting blown around, and I sank in the snow and hit the top of a car, and I'm like, I'm out. I'm out. Going to USC. Gotta get out of here. It's too much.
Now, what do you think of the fall weather?
Oh, it's my favorite. So that's what we really get here, although we don't get the leaves, which I really miss. I always go to New York in the fall. It's I love that weather. It feels like back to school Halloween-y weather. I love it. So we get the feel here, but we don't get any of the changing leaves, which wah.
Right. Well, you got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah, I mean, I live on a bird reserve right on a saltwater canal that comes in from the ocean that's 2 blocks away. So, my husband surfs every day, and I mean, it's amazing here. I'm really lucky. I can't complain about if there's no leaves, I can take it.
Yeah, Gary usually rakes his leaves, brings them over, and throws it on my lawn because I don't have any trees.
Oh, that's so sweet.
I like to share,
Yeah, what a giving guy.
Thank you. So speaking of surfing, you just had an accident, what, a year ago, 2 years ago?
Yeah, it was a year ago, and I'm just like getting back to normal. I went to Fiji, to this little private island for my 60th birthday, and I envisioned myself in my bikini surfing on a wave, being like 60 bitches, and instead I had a really bad accident. First, the day before I had some out of control kid I turned my face just in time, and it cut my ear open, so I had these stitches on my ear. So I was surfing on a really big board because I couldn't get my ear wet, so it was like a tabletop. And that I got off, my husband and I joined hands on the wave, and we were so excited. We got all these pictures, and I jump off onto the sand, and I went woo, and then all of a sudden my board got taken back by the wave, and I turned around to try to get my leash off, and it kept banging my leg, and I broke my leg and my foot in 9 places. My leg swelled up. We were supposed to get on the plane in 2 hours, and there is an emergency room doctor on the island. They always have that, and like he can surf for free. And he drained all the blood out of my leg, and he said it was the most blood he'd ever drained out of anything. And I flew back home for 13 hours with an ace bandage and 1 pain pill. That's all they had. It was a nightmare. But anyway, whatever. So the funny is, it's not funny, but I was in, so from October last year to around February, I was finally out of the wheelchair and got my cast off, and I was starting to go to rehab, and I think I got COVID. They don't know, because back then everyone said you didn't go to China, you didn't get COVID, but looking back, I'm sure I had COVID. I tested negative for antibodies months later. So then, I mean, I've been quarantining for like a year in the house. I got out one day, and I've been in the house since October.
So your 60th birthday was not great.
But it was really bad, but it wasn't. It was a couple weeks before. It was like a month before my birthday. It was just a good surfing.
Yeah.
So I got to have a really shitty 60th birthday. My husband had to work in Hawaii. He's the head doctor for the World Surf League. So he was at the contest, the big wave contest. I always go with them and I couldn't go. So I was my best friend's Daryl Hannah and her husband Neil Young came and stayed with me and took me to dinner, and we had a great time. But it was a little sad.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope for 61 and next month, right? To be a little bit better.
Yeah. Hey, what's gonna happen? Nothing. We're quarantined.
Probably still be on lockdown.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm so happy I can walk again, and my foot is still kind of numb and messed up, but other than that, I'm great.
How long did it take to heal up? And is it still in the healing process?
Yeah, I mean, it's still healing, and it's been a year. And my husband's a really top leading, doctor for athletes. And I went to all the best people who, work on all these top athletes, and they did a great job. It's just, taking a while, but I can walk now. I'm not going to surf again. I've been stand-up paddling and riding my bike and stuff because I'm really active, and that was hard.
Now, how do you like the stand-up paddling opposed to surfing? I know it's a different.
Well, because I live on the water, our backyard is a dock, so I just launch from there. It's a big pain in the butt if you're trying to go. The surfboards are so heavy and huge to try, but this is great. We just launch from here. It's totally flat. It's different. It's fun. It's not, anyone can do it. It's
Right.
literally so easy. You're just on, flat surface paddling. It's nothing. So I just like to do it here because we have the most amazing, sharks and stingrays and egrets and blue herons. And we go, I paddle around here. I'm looking out like you can see it, and
I'm looking.
and there's sand dollars in the water. And so it's a nice relaxing situation. I can listen to a podcast, but so it's so fun, and it gets your adrenaline going, and you just don't want to stop. It's scary sometimes, but it's just so much fun. And I'm terrible at it. I mean, I started at 48 when I met my now husband because, I was trying to show off, and I'm like, I've always wanted to learn how to surf. And I did, but I actually got, I never got great at it, but I love it.
Well, now Terry's backyard, Rhino's backyard is also water, but we don't have sharks, and we have algae and
Alligators.
Like no alligators, no
alligators. Yeah, we just we have snapping turtles. Other than that,
love turtles. That would be
oh,
fun.
they're the greatest. Yeah, they'll cross the street and then they'll go lay their eggs and then they'll come back. So it's cool, watching them come back, and so sometimes they'll get
turtle. I was on my way to do a movie a couple months ago in LA, and I saw a giant turtle crossing the road in this residential neighborhood, and I took him, and he had this glue on. He had his name glued to the back of his turtle shell, and his name was Curly, and I loved him. And I called his parents, and I had to go work, so they never answered my phone call. So I left him with a neighbor, and they were like, "Oh, that's Curly. He gets out all the time." So now I look for him all the time. I'm going to keep him next time.
Yeah, keep them.
Keeping Curly.
Yes. Now, have you had any encounters with sharks or anything, or close encounters surfing, or any of your friends?
Well, yes, I used to dive a lot, and I went with my best friend, who's Daryl Hannah. She was in like Splash and Kill Bill and all these other movies, and she played a mermaid in Splash. So yes. She's amazing under the water. So she knows I'm a fraidy cat, but we went to Palau with Sylvia Earle, Dr. Sylvia Earle, who was Jacques Cousteau's girlfriend, and she was like 80 years old, and she's amazing. They call her deepness. She's been under the water longer than any woman. And she took us, and we went to Shark Alley, where you see like thousands of sharks crossing back and forth, and you tether yourself behind this rock because it's huge slipstream, like going really quickly, and you watch them, and they were so close. I was shaking like this every time I went diving. I did see a freaking shark loose, and it's so scary. I never get used to it. I hate sharks. I'm scared of sharks. I mean, I was never the same when I saw Jaws like everyone else, but my husband, it ruined me for life, but my husband was surfing like a year ago, and he never tells me anything because he knows I'm scared of sharks, and I heard him on the phone, and a great white passed underneath him. He felt all his goosebumpy, and he looked down. He said it was like a huge behemoth underneath him, and he said if he wanted to eat him, he would have. Like he's never gotten out of the water before, and he did, but it just passed underneath him. Thank God.
That would scare the shit out of me.
I know. I you know what? I don't need to go surfing or see sharks ever again. The sharks that are in our canal are all baby sharks because there's no predators in there. So there are a lot of people. They give birth, to their babies in this canal. A lot of people. A lot of
A lot of birthing going on in that canal.
A lot of birthing, water birth. But
that's
yeah.
one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons why I like the Great Lakes. I live on Lake Erie, and I have a little marina right there in Monroe, Michigan. I don't know if you're familiar with Michigan.
Yeah, I went to Western, so we would cross over there to have parties, go to Michigan, you know.
Yeah. Have you ever been to? Did you say Western Michigan or?
I don't remember. It was so long ago. Who the hell knows?
Right. No, but yeah. So I enjoy the Great
remember
it. I just enjoy the Great Lakes because there's no sharks or there's really nothing that can eat you.
Oh, they're beautiful. Just that wind in the winter coming off those Great Lakes.
Right.
Well, I could get a facelift that way.
You don't need a facelift, Hilary.
All right.
But this, speaking of your past here, I want to go back to American Girls. What was that about?
So
that was a group you were in, right?
Yes, we had one record out on IRS Records. We were really big in Japan and Italy, but we never really broke here. But we did lots of songs for movies and soundtracks and things. But my best friend Daryl and I started a band when we got out of college, and I happened to sit next to Miles Copeland, who managed the Police at the time, and he read my lyrics and loved them. And Daryl and I sang him a bunch of songs, and he signed us right away. And then Daryl got really famous doing Splash and all that. She's still mad for getting kicked out of the band, but she didn't. She couldn't never come to her. So, I mean, I'd much rather have her career. Thanks. And we actually got a movie deal before we got a record deal, but we never made the movie. And so we traveled and toured for like 2 years together. It was so much fun. We played our own instruments, and I was good. The Go-Go's were on our label, and they were shocked. They're like, "You get to play your own instruments? Oh my God, on the record!" And so it was fascinating for them. But I played the bass, and I wrote all the songs, co-wrote some of them, and it was really fun. But it was like being married to 5 people. We were like 20 years old, and we were always fighting and getting crazy. You know, it was nuts. But I toured the country and had so much fun.
Did you go to Japan and stuff and tour? And
we never did. No, we were supposed to open for REM. I forget what happened. No, I mean, it never broke in America, and then it broke Japan and Italy, and I don't know. They never wanted to spend the money to send us over. I guess it was really fun. You can find I just found my record in a thrift store the other day. Well, not the other day, like probably a couple months ago. And
pick it up.
Oh yeah, it was $1. I sprung. I was like, "This is me." Can I That happened with my Power Ranger doll too. I found one I'd never seen in France, and I tried to explain it was me, but I paid for it, whatever.
Right.
So is there going to be any chance of a 2021 reunion tour? Or?
We actually did have a reunion last year. And we did a bunch, because one of our songs started getting played a lot again. And so we did play together, and it was so fun. The other girls are all still in bands and still play. And some of them are, one of them is like almost 70, and she still plays. And it was really fun to play again. It really was. But I play all the time. Yeah, we play for fun. It's because Daryl is with Neil Young. Obviously, Daryl and I play music together, but not when Neil's around, of course. So we always have to like wait for him to leave or something, and then we can play together. But
do you think he would judge you, or why don't you guys?
No, it's mortifying. I mean, can you imagine playing with like the best musician? Kill myself.
Right.
He heard something we recorded though and complimented my band, and I got to be on one of his records too, so that was fun.
Yeah,
it's a dream, a lifelong dream to be on one of Neil Young.
Neil Young, he I forget the name of the song. It was probably in the early 70s. I think it was called Old Man.
Yeah. Old Man.
Now I heard I think he was playing it live. I seen a video, and he said he bought a farm off of Old Man. Did he really do that? And does he still live there?
Well, he got divorced before he met Daryl, and he lost that in the divorce. He had it since he was like 18 years old. He bought this amazing spread in Northern California.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, that was really sad, but he had it all those years, and he built it from scratch, and but got the memories. They're so happy now. It doesn't matter.
Now, do they live on some land, or do they?
They live in Colorado, and then they have a house in Malibu that burnt down, so they haven't moved back, which sucks for me because they're in Canada right now. Yeah, they have a house in Canada too. So yeah, they would come here and stay the week, or because we're like 2 hours away from them, and we'd have so much fun, and then we'll go stay there, and we go to Colorado and visit them, but we haven't since I don't want to be the one to give Neil Young COVID. No thanks.
Right.
The evil queen.
Not what my legacy should be.
You and Daryl, you guys have a board game, don't you? 2 or 3?
Yeah, we do a lot of projects together. We had, I think, 4 board games out at one point. The craziest thing is the company went bankrupt, and then someone sells them on Amazon all the time. We get no money for it. I get messages all the time. I love your game. The best seller was called Library, L-I-E, Brary. And you have to make up, if you ever played Balderdash, where you have to make up the definition of a word and everyone guesses what the real definition is. It's like that, but with first lines of books. But it's really, really fun. Even if you don't read, you can totally win. But yeah, somebody's getting money, but not us. Story of my life.
What got you into making board games?
Well, we love to play games, Daryl and I. And there was one old parlor game that you would take a book out of your library, and you'd read everybody the description, and everybody had like 5 minutes to write the best fake first line they could. And we were in Hawaii one time, and there was no books. So we're like, what if we made our own game and made it easier for everyone to play? So that's what we did. And then we did last lines of movies. And then we had another, we had one called Love It or Hate It. And we had a card game called Call It. But I don't know. We don't get any money from anything anymore.
So after go ahead, Terry.
Oh, was it difficult to create the games, or, I mean, how long did it take you to create a game?
Well, the best part was that because we had these game nights, we would test it out on people for play and really see if you could play. And then Daryl and I constructed exactly what we wanted to look like. It looked like a big one of those old books, and you would open it like that, and the board game was on the top. And we won all these awards, and there was little shelves inside where you could take the mini books out, different categories like romance novels, history books, comedy, and you would roll the dice, and whatever you land on, you took something from that category, and everyone would write. You'd have enough information, that we would read out loud, that if you've never read the book, you could write a fake first line. Or like, for instance, the very first line of Wuthering Heights is like 1812, and everyone's like, that's not right, and that's it. Or there's some that even aren't grammatically correct. Like, most times you can never guess it, and it's so much fun to bluff, even if you've never read it, or write a Dr. Seuss. It's great to write a first line, try to rhyme. And anyway, it's really fun. But also, I was in a movie called Troop Beverly Hills, which at the time was not a big hit. And I wrote this theme song called the Cookie Song. And it's become this huge thing. It's cookie time, and everyone always sings it now. And now the movie's gone. Everyone loves it. It's become a classic. And they had gone bankrupt too, and I never get money from that either. And people have sold the song, and it's crazy. Kim Kardashian, like, it's her favorite movie, and I was hoping Kanye West would sample it, and then I would get lawyers and go after it.
There's still hope. There's still hope.
This is the story of my life. I just do all this for free.
So, and you also wrote a book, right?
Yes, I wrote a book called Jesus, which is not a religious book, and I think it was named wrong. And so it became like a cult hit. I started selling it at conventions, and the weirdest thing about it, I wrote it probably 10 years ago, and it's come true. It's about the earth. It's in the future, and it had the big sick, and everybody was dying off, so everyone had to live inside in these little like malls where you never left that mall, and you had health meters, and you had to get sprayed down. Kids got to pick what sex they were. It's crazy. It was based on a series of dreams I've had since I was little, and the whole book came true. It's freaky.
It's freaky. So it's not Stephen King's fault. It's your fault.
No, it's totally my fault. I saw it coming and nobody believed me. Yeah. So it's on Amazon. It's called Jesus, and it's not religious. And I probably should have renamed it, but you'll see why it's called that. But it's It's really weird. People write to me now going, oh my God, because you can see the copyright. Even that there was a movie called The Big Sick, but that was in my book way before them,
Now, when did you write the book, and when did you release it?
It was 10 years ago, and I wrote it because I had been diagnosed with cancer and I was going through all my treatments at the time. So I did it to keep it was something I always wanted to do and I never got around to it. So I was, in bed all the time and stuff. So I wrote it during that time, and I've been cancer free for over 10 years now. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Congratulations.
thank
So,
you.
what type of cancer, if you don't mind me asking?
I had stage 1 breast cancer, so I got it early, which is amazing, but it's so boring to go into. But at first they thought it was stage 4, and they always thought it would spread everywhere. I was, 50 years old, and they took my ovaries out thinking it was riddled with cancer, and it was eggs, like crazy stuff so it all turned out for the best. But yeah.
We've talked about books and board games and rock and roll music, and we've never even gotten to acting yet. So you've done so much. You've done so much. Is there anything that you still want to do?
Oh God, a million things.
The bucket list.
But I have done a lot of. Back then I was called the dilettante. Now everybody does that. There was no actors who were musicians back then. Madonna was just coming up, and my agents used to say to me, "Well, what are you, an actress or a musician?" They thought it was a bad thing. So I feel like I had bad timing, of course, in a lot of stuff I did, but because now it's a whole different world. So I don't know. I still do Lifetime movies all the time because I'm retired, but they do call me. And so I have a movie called The Husband for Christmas. It's on every Christmas. And then I have a series called The Wrong. And it's like The Wrong Babysitter, The Wrong Husband, and it's all with Vivica Fox and Eric Roberts. And it's they're really fun. So there's marathons on the weekends. I have some new ones coming out soon also. So. And all my stuff is on. I'm on the Golden Girls, and it's always playing. They play my stuff all the time. Star Trek, Deep Space, 3 of those, and they're on all the time. And so it's fun to be clicking through the channels and have your Sunset Boulevard moment. You're like, oh, look how cute I was. I didn't even know I was cute. You get to watch. My kids are so sick of it. I'm like, I'm not. They're like, yeah, Mom,
we've seen it.
Not interested. I'm like, okay.
Now you were on didn't you make a guest appearance on Full House?
I knew he's going to bring this up.
Several times on Full House, and then later I did another show with the Olsen twins when they were older, but I had never seen Full House. And I remember when I went to work, and John Stamos' character had this crazy Greek name, and when we did the first reading, I didn't know how to pronounce it, and he was so horrified, like, tell that girl how to pronounce my name. How come she doesn't know who I am? It's like, sorry, not everyone Full House. Sorry.
Right.
At the time we didn't really have DVRs and things like that. So if you weren't, I had a young daughter, and I was like, I don't have time to watch TV. But now, of course, my daughters were so excited that when they grew up, because they love that show and they love when I come on.
Yeah, I used to watch it all the time when it came on.
You still watch it?
Then my daughters, they thought that when I did the TV show with Mary Kate and Ashley, they were teenagers, and my daughters came to the set, and they're like, are they the real ones, or they're wearing costumes? They were looking for zippers behind them to zip out, like they thought they were just fake characters.
Is there anything you want to ask her about John Stamos? So while we're talking about Full House?
I'm a big fan of John Stamos.
A lot of beautiful women coming in and out. I'll tell you that. Oh my gorgeous models who come on the set every day.
Yeah.
I'm still friends with one of them.
Yeah. If I had like bromances, I'd call it. It would be John Stamos, Matthew McConaughey.
Good choice.
And oh geez, I can't believe I'm forgetting his name.
You've broken up.
Right, from Dawson's Creek. James Vanderbeek.
Yeah. You know what's so funny? All of you, John Stamos is hilariously funny. He is so acerbic and he's hysterical. He's actually a really nice guy, and he probably was the height of his fame then, and he was a little offended I didn't know his name, but we ended up being friends, and he's so sweet and funny. Funny.
But is his hair as soft as it looks? I know that's what Terry wants to know. So
I didn't touch his hair. I'm so sorry. I wouldn't dare pronounce his name wrong and touch his hair. Out.
How fun was it to be on set like Star Trek and sets like Full House and other sets you've been on?
Oh my God, it was so much fun. Star Trek's crazy because it's so seeped in mystery, and you can't tell anyone the script. And if and you go onto the actual sets, and you're in a spaceship with space outside, and it's like stuff you've seen your whole life, and it's insane. And so many shows like the Power Rangers, whatever, I would improvise and make up my own stuff, and they loved it. But Star Trek, if you want to say "and" instead of "the," they have to check with the heads up. And I also, for the first part I played on Star Trek where I got killed off, I had to learn a whole nother language. And I was in makeup for like 8 hours before I went on the set, and I could barely see, and I played this blue crazy character, and they're like, okay, we can only do one take, it's going to blow you up after, so don't mess it up. I'm like, great. I start talking, and they go, cut, what are you saying? And I said, oh, it's a script you sent me. They're like, they didn't send you the new pages? And I was like, no. So they're like, we're really sorry, it's not your fault, but you've got to memorize this right now. I was so scared, and I did it. But I was like, after that, I thought I was sweating behind my mask. It was like 5 pages of me just like, commander, blah, 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 and then speaking in a whole nother language, which fans knew it, so I couldn't mess up the language. It was so horrifying. And when it was over, I thought they'll never call me again. And then later they called me to play a different character with no makeup, because no one knew I was that character. And that was so fun. And we were so popular that they called me back again with these other characters. They were called the Whack Pack. And we were going to become regulars. And then the show got canceled.
Story of life.
Totally. This is my sad story of woe. But growing up as a little girl on Long Island, we didn't know any actors, or, the closest we came is my dad played polo with Tommy Lee Jones one time, and Bert once. And I dressed up I looked like Lisa Lupner from Saturday Night Live with like one eyebrow, thick glasses. I was this height, green as it goes, long frizzy hair. And I was hideous. And I remember thinking like, they're going to discover me. I'm going to go to Hollywood. And so I dressed up in my best outfit and these plastic daisies in my hair. And I took all these pictures, and I was like, are they blind? How come no one discovered me and took me to Hollywood? Like, can't they see? And I have the greatest pictures. My sister's this gorgeous blonde looking like a movie star. And I'm like, posing with these guys, and I'm so hideous. And I was just shocked that nobody took me to Hollywood. I always had a lot of confidence in myself, even though I was not cute.
I'm sure you were.
No, yeah, I'll send you pictures, and everyone says that, and they're like, oh, I mean, I got better, as Monty Python would say. When I got braces and my glasses off, things got a lot better. But and I grew into my body more. I was 5'10" and looked like a gangly nut, weighed 2 pounds. And the best thing that ever happened to me is when I went back to my high school reunion, you guys. It was the best night of my life. All the mean girls and everyone who would always make fun of me and call me, olive oil and stuff like that. They were also waiting in line to get my autograph because the Power Rangers movie had just come out. And I'm like, I dreamt of this day. I would always go, one day, everyone's going to be so sorry they were mean to me. And it was the best night ever.
Well, Gary's still mean to me. Doesn't matter.
Ah, dang it. No, deserve to be revered. Tell him. Doesn't he know?
Right.
One day you'll grow into your body too, and then I won't be.
And you'll get your glasses and your braces off, and you'll be fine.
Right. Well, if anybody is mean to you, you just let us know. Give us their address.
Oh, I'm so excited. I got muscles behind me now.
Right. Gary and I will go take care of them.
Yeah.
You got nothing else to do.
Sweet. I'll start making a list.
Let's start in the Midwest and work our way out.
Okay, yeah. So I'll start locally. I got some. What's interesting though? I really don't have a lot of trolls. The most trolling I really got was from my brother and my mother. I'm like, really, guys? They're the ones who always had horrible comments.
We've got to find out who's making money off those board games. And
I know. Isn't that ridiculous?
Right.
I know. We'll send you there, and you'll come get a bag of money from those.
Right. We'll grab the royalties for you. So.
Thanks. I might consider that actually.
Now, this is a question. The Star Trek fans and the Star Wars fans, when someone that's outside of the loop, they get it mixed up. Does that upset a lot of the actors and actresses? Does it upset more the fans?
Yeah. It's really weird that the Power Ranger fans and the Star Trek fans, those are the conventions I really go to. I've been with Star Wars people before, but they hate each other. They're like very disdainful of the other one. Well, I don't watch Power Rangers. I just want your Star Trek thing or the Star Trek. Maybe sometimes they're more like, oh, you were in Star Trek, but they could care less. Fandoms are so, you must find that out too, right? They're just so, they just like what they like, and that's all they want to know about. And, you know, maybe it's a little interesting. Oh, you were in that, but they really, they're very into their own, you know, little worlds. It's really interesting. But I've never been taken Star Wars. I've signed autographs with other ones, but I just remember the fandom between Star Trek and Power Rangers is pretty fascinating.
Yeah. No, I've actually, you know, knowing the difference, and sometimes I'll go up to someone that is a huge Star Wars fan and just say something. Oh, I love Star Trek, and it's like, no, there's a difference in Star Wars.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Anybody? I could care. I mean, I want everyone to be happy, and a fan's a fan no matter what. Even I get some Bullock all the time, or I used to get Kirstie Alley. I'm like, yeah, you know, that's me. No, I try to say no, but they don't believe me. I remember this one fan was insisting I was Sandra Bullock. So finally I went, all right, I'm Sandra Bullock. And as I walked away, I heard her say, that's Sandra Bullock's a bitch. I'm like, sorry, Sandra. Pretty funny.
Yeah, I wonder if she found that out.
Right.
I hope it came right back to me. She'd probably cease and desist on me. Yeah, like she would care. No, she's probably, I've met her before and she's so sweet. So
her way, she can take it.
Exactly.
So what got you into acting? I mean, I know you started off with the band, and then you were supposed to have a movie deal with the band.
I wanted to be an actress since I can remember. I mean, since I was little, and I think it might have to do with, number one, I was a middle child with a gorgeous older blonde sister who got a ton of attention. She was so sweet to me. She was amazing, but you know, it was always like, hi, Hilary, where's your sister? So I always wanted to be an actress, maybe for the attention, or because I was a weird kid. I was always playing pretend and things like that, and putting on plays for my family, you know. And my sister told me when I was little that because I had these really blue eyes when I was little, so they'd always say, oh, you have eyes like Elizabeth Taylor. And my sister was like, because you are her daughter. You were left on the doorstep. You were ruining her career. And the only reason mommy and daddy took you in, because you don't even look like us. Hello, we're blonde. You're not. Is because I really wanted a sister. So you have to be really nice to me at all times, or they'll just give you right back. So I secretly thought I was Elizabeth Taylor's sister daughter for so many years. I was shocked when I found out I wasn't. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. It was a conspiracy. You know, I was probably, I don't know, 10 when I really realized I wasn't. I'm not too bright, but I think that could have sown the seeds. And also, you know, my mother loved to watch the Oscars. She loved movies. She loved movie stars. And so I think it was all a jumble of that. But I was always in every play at school. I was in camp. I went to this all girls camp, and I was the tallest. So I always got the lead part as the guy, you know. And I loved it. I always wanted to be an actress. Every single time we blew out the candles, you know, it was that wish. And when I got better at like 16, I went to college early, and I modeled the summer before, and I wanted to not go to college and, you know, stay modeling. And my parents like shipped me off to Northwestern, which was a great choice actually. And it was, you know, I was just determined. That's all I ever wanted to do. And I actually was an actress before I got in the band, you know, but I did both at the same time because I love to sing. I had a band in high school, and, you know, and I love music, and I love to write songs. So I just never wanted to be anything else. I couldn't be, I just wouldn't have any skills doing anything else.
I'm sure you could manage.
I don't know. Really weird.
What type of advice do you give to the younger generation that's wanting to get into acting and stuff like that?
You know, it's so different now. I mean, people become huge stars and bazillionaires off of YouTube and TikTok and Instagram, and we didn't have that back then. I mean, I didn't even have a pager at first when I was an actor. You'd get a call from your agent. You'd have to go across town, pick up your sides, which is your audition things, you know, on a day, and then, or go pick them up from, you know, your agent or something like that. And, you know, go back another day just to audition. And if you missed your agent's call, you were like screwed. And finally I got like a pager. And so they have their own careers in their hands, which is incredible. If you're funny, if you're talented, you will get noticed on Instagram or TikTok or something. That's a great way to do it now. And
Right.
we just didn't have that. But the other thing I would say is like, learn your craft. I mean, yes, it's easy to people fall into it all the time, but most of the actors that I know didn't just fall into it. Everybody studied, and there are different techniques for when you're in, in the theater, which is like at school and college, that's all they teach you. There's like not even a film acting class back then, when film acting is totally different. Like the first movie I did, I was so over the top, which I can do. I did it for Diva Talks, but at this part shouldn't have been. But you don't know, like one, twitch of your eye instead of, shows up. So there's things you need to learn and practice. And it's so easy now to do that. You can tape yourself and watch yourself, what you look like, and criticize yourself and see, oh, I'm doing this with my face. Or if you notice, most actors, everybody, their faces are totally, they don't move, not just because of Botox. It's like that kind of acting people do. And you can really see if you're making a strange, like quirky, Ellen, I am a quirky actress like that, but it's not always good, So I would just say, study, learn as much as you can, watch movies, watch how actors do it, just know the difference between sitcom acting and film acting and, and theater, and just don't give up. I mean, everyone's going to tell you no. Everyone told me no. I couldn't get arrested, and I just never stopped. I remember at USC, invited all these big agents. No one came, to see all the plays I did. And then I was in the Groundlings doing comedy improv. And that's what really started me, because that was like a hotbed for up and coming comedians and, things like that. So just get out there and do it.
Do you like improv?
I love improv. I mean,
Yeah.
I love doing, the Groundlings was the best training I've ever had, because I would go out at night dressed as Cher and take a suggestion, have to sing a full rhyming funny song as her, and you have to think on your feet. And all my favorite parts have let me go wild. Like the Power Rangers let me do whatever I wanted. They were amazing. And we were on this, the director and I were on the same track. He loved it, and he would just let me go flying. So all my famous lines like "Viva la Diva" and all that was all stuff I made up, and they just kept the camera rolling, and I would go nuts. And my two henchmen were always in these giant suits, and they were always clunking into me, and I would just use that, and you had to be PG, of course, because it was kids. So
Right.
but I even told the prop department when I did the play Diva Talks in the movie, I was like, I want to make her really vain, so get me like Space Vogue and mirrors, and just I would tell them what to make me, and I would use all that stuff. It's so fun to just let it go flying. I love that. It's way harder for me to like read someone else's joke and make it funny. And sometimes that works in auditions when you add something, and sometimes it doesn't, because the writers get mad,
Right.
So you have to feel out each situation, but when they want you to, and if they like what you're doing, that's my favorite.
Right.
So, and you must do that when you work too, I'm sure, right?
I noticed, now they have a lot of writers and stuff like that writing promos and kind of characters, and I feel bad for the generation coming up, because back when there was Rowdy Piper and Hulk Hogan, and all those guys coming up, Jake the Snake Roberts, even when I was coming up, you learn your character. So you were the one that chose what direction your character would go, and then they didn't have writers, they had bookers. So they would, okay, well, let's tell this story with this character and that character, and a lot of times the character came within, like if you, like you said, you're more of a quirky, you like the quirky parts, like say if your character was more quirky, then they could put you here, here, and here, and then they would book you according. Now they kind of try to figure out a story and a character, put it on someone, and then that, like you said, when you're reading, someone else's joke, you really can't get it over, even if you try to tweak it a little bit. And like Jake the Snake Roberts and Macho Man, I mean, they could turn it on and they could cut a promo, and but now it's like guys are so dependent on the writers because they don't know what to say. Yeah, so it's more of an improv, when I came up.
So when you were up and coming, you came up with your character yourself. Nobody's this kind of guy, and that's crazy. And nowadays, just if someone wants to wrestle and they want you to, do they tell you what character to be and everything?
Well, they kind of a lot of times what WWE, and it works, sometimes, but it's harder. A lot of times they'll sign a young man or woman, and then they'll put them in the power plant. Before it was kind of like you're on the circuit. Maybe what's the best way to explain it? Like you're on Broadway or something. You're doing or you're working the little comedy shows. And you're honing your stick, kind of like honing what your character would say, how he would wrestle, what moves he would do. Like this one guy, Mighty Igor, he's since passed, but he started wrestling in 1952. And he wrestled as Mr. Michigan Dick Garza, which was his real name. And then he created a character because he was Polish. He figured, okay, well, I'll be from Poland, a strong guy, which he was a really strong guy. And then, but he wouldn't talk and let his manager talk. He made more money doing that than he did as Dick Garza. So, so when you're honing your craft, doing all these small shows, but now a lot of the guys are picked up right away in WWE and put down in their camp. And then, the writers will say, okay, well, I see this character. And then they'll look through the pictures. Okay, well, he looks the part.
Wow.
Well, not necessarily he can play the part,
Wow.
So back in the day, they would just, okay, well, we could do this, and this with this guy. So
You were dictating it and they would put you. Now it's like
they would fit you in, yeah. So
see, I'd like to see a Divatox character in wrestling.
The
Pirate Queen.
There's a lot of drag queens that could do it.
Right.
Oh, there's a lot of great women wrestlers too, because what's the Kairi Sane? She played the evil Pirate Queen, right? Wasn't that her stick?
What?
I think.
Yeah, I think she's the evil Pirate Queen. She's a Japanese wrestler.
Oh, cut a bitch. Wow.
I thought that was pretty awesome. I always thought of Divatox whenever I seen her come out.
Wow.
We'll go get some more royalties, Hilary.
God damn it.
I'm trying to help you out here.
Right.
I really need you guys. You might have a full-time job getting my royalties. I got a check yesterday for like 0.03 cents. I was like 0.03 cents.
You get a check for 0.03 cents.
Yeah, I was like, what is? I didn't even know. Thank you. Like
the paper, the stamp costs more than that.
I know, it's crazy. Dumb stuff. I don't even know what it was for. But I love when my mailbox money comes in, but it's when it dwindles down, the longer something's on, you get like nothing after a while. But I get the
royalties decrease over time.
Oh God, yeah. So you'll go. I was in 40-year-old virgin. But cut out, and I still get tons of checks for that. But it's definitely going down. And like Golden Girls, I'll get like 19 cents. Like it just is nothing now. It's crazy. And then when you're on Netflix or Hulu or any of that, you get nothing because we didn't negotiate that because it wasn't invented. So I've got
services don't pay royalties then.
Oh my God, I have a million things on all those things from every episode of Power Rangers and the movie to Star Trek and I get nothing. Yay! Do you see a reoccurring theme here?
I do.
But you know what? When you're an actor, you are so excited to get a part. You would just be like, I do for free. You just want to work. If that's really your passion, I would do it for free. So,
Right.
And apparently sometimes you have.
Right.
Most of the time.
Same here. I feel your pain.
Yeah.
Billy works for Ford, so he's getting that paycheck either way.
I have to go to work.
We gotta move in with Gary.
Yeah.
I see a lot of similarities wrestling and acting, though. I mean, just the way you guys,
great
creativity,
great actors, wrestlers.
Yeah. Now, one of the things I really enjoy is being on the road, performing, doing shows and stuff like that. Obviously, a lot of the shows we still do TV, but on a closed set. Now, is it similar to you, like when you're on the set, like going to the set, being around other actors? And
I love being on the set. It's so much fun, and I love doing theater. I did off Broadway in New York, and I did a bunch of stuff in LA. It's so great. Yeah, I have the same feeling as you. I love the whole atmosphere, and so it was really nice. To start doing Comic-Cons. I just didn't know that anybody would know who I was. I was asked a long time, but I thought I'm just going to sit there and no one's going to ask me for my autograph. So I was shocked when I went out to really peddle my book. And then I found out I had all these fans everywhere. And that was so nice, because you don't get that when you're, you don't get that when you're on TV and movies. You don't know, unless you're huge famous, that anyone's even watching you or remembers you, So that was really nice. I love doing that. I mean, I burnt out because it was so much traveling and craziness, but I really loved meeting my fans. That was so much fun.
But you got to go to such great towns like Monroe, Michigan, and
exactly. Got to meet you.
That's right.
Great. You were like one of my first ones.
Ever. Yeah. You and Nikita, you said that. You said you really didn't know if you wanted to do it or not. And I was like,
yeah, oh. I just thought it would be embarrassing. It's like twiddling my thumbs, like,
I thought it was great having you. It was.
Yeah, it was great. I was like, yeah, I'm going to do this. This is fun. Yeah,
well,
it was really. Yeah, I had a great time. Love seeing America that way too. It was really, I'd gone on tour with my band and seen all of America, and that was in the 80s. And then to go back and do that. And then I went to Europe, all over Europe and everything too. It was really, really, it's a great, great opportunity. So I hope those come back.
Me too.
One day.
I think one of the great things about, like Comic-Cons and stuff like that is, the fan base you have, and then, just with Star Trek and Power Rangers alone.
Great fan bases. And
they're very passionate. One of the things I like is watching the fans, how they dress up. And I mean, I go there. Yeah, it's like I think it's cool as shit just watching them, because they're so passionate about it. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. And it feels like everyone's found their peeps, it's their tribe, and they're so happy, and it's infectious. I agree. It's so great. And we appreciate it so much. I mean, we really do. It's so nice to get that feedback and to know that I meant something to some kid who would, I have a lot of gay people come up to me and say, I was like a little closeted kid and you're my idol and you made my day great. It's so nice. What a great feeling to be able to, like, you did some great impact on the world, however small,
Right. Small or big.
Did you ever meet all the shows you did? Have you ever meet Stan Lee? I mean, this is the anniversary of his death, actually, 2 years ago today.
Oh, rest in peace, Stan Lee. Yes, I did meet him. Oh, he was so sweet. I mean, he was very old when I met him, but what an icon. That was great. And then same thing. I mean, I was at signing autographs next to like I Dream of Jeannie and the Patty Duke and if someone told me as a little kid that you're going to be like in the same building and fans are going to be asking for your autograph, like right next to Patty Duke or Barbara Eden or, oh my God. I mean, I was such a TV head as a kid, and Batman was my favorite show, that one, after the really Adam West and all that. And I met him. I mean, I based a lot of Diva Talks on that, Julie Newmar's,
Catwoman.
And on that show, and I would just die if someone had told me that. Like that's the greatest thing too, being a fan myself and to get me to meet those people.
So Diva Talks is fangirled before it shows.
Oh God, yeah, I fangirl all the time. It's crazy. Yeah, it was really, that was the best part.
That's like when I first seen Hulk Hogan. I was just I was one of those beat up guys, right? And I was just in the back and watching the monitor, and the show started, and I just sat there, and he was off in the side, and I could tell he knew I was staring at him.
Did he know you? Did he know you?
It's getting awkward.
What's that?
Did he know you?
No, I was just, this is when I was only 19. I was just starting in wrestling, so yeah, I was there to get beat up, but they canceled the match, but we were supposed to stay in the back, and I'm just like watching them, and here's the funny story. I've worked with him a lot, and I've never told him this story, but like all he had to do was walk out to the ring, and then security would stop him and push him back. They almost made me a security guard, right? And I'm thinking, wow, I'm gonna touch Hulk Hogan, right? So all of a sudden, this was back in '95, and it was a pay-per-view. I forget the pay-per-view. It was WCW. And all of a sudden, he cracks open a beer. And the child inside of me was like, okay, he always said, say your prayers, eat your vitamins, and I think train. He said nothing about drinking a beer, right? So the kid inside of me,
oh my gosh.
I was a little shocked, but I'm like, okay, well, he is over
He's
21.
He's human. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and he's not wrestling. Okay. So then he grabbed another beer, right? And he's just shooting it with a couple wrestlers and stuff. So that's 2 beers, right? And I'm like, okay, well, my dad could drink like 18 beers and it not even faze him. And once again, he's not wrestling. He drank up to 6 beers. And after that, I was just like, you know what? I'm done. I'm done making excuses. I knew I should have rooted for Macho Man more.
You did forgive him. Did you watch his reality show?
Yeah, I caught some of it. Yeah.
That was hilarious. It was so good.
But I see the thing is like you were saying, how you meet these people, you watched when you were, growing up and stuff. Like if someone would have told me, I would have met, I met everybody except Andre the Giant. But, like I met all of them, and worked with all of them. And it's one of those things you have to pinch yourself,
You do. It's crazy.
Yeah, and then I was with Rowdy Piper. We were up in Newfoundland, and he came in the ring and he whipped me with his belt. And when he was whipping me with the belt, because I think I hit the ring or something, and he came in and beat me up a little bit, and he's whipping me with his belt. And the whole time I'm thinking, I watched him as a kid. He was a good guy and I was a bad guy, but I'm thinking
like, may I have more, please? Thank you.
Right.
I think you can have another.
Yeah. Someone pinch me.
No, it's crazy, right? When it comes full circle, all those nights of dreaming and wanting and wishing, and then it actually comes true. It's like, it's such a great gift. I mean, no matter what, I never was hugely famous or anything, but I was just always a working actress, and I got to fulfill so many of my dreams, so that's been really great.
Yeah, not only you fulfill dreams, your personal dreams, but you help out people in little ways, like you said, you make a difference in someone's life,
that's always nice. I always love when I can do that.
Well, speaking of making a difference, yesterday we celebrated Veterans Day for our veterans, and Hilary, your dad was a Navy SEAL, I believe.
Yes, he was one of the first. They were called frogmen, and he had to go bury bombs in Korea with no tank on his back because of the bubble, so he could hold his breath. When we kids growing up, he could do that when you're on your dad's back, and he's like under the water for like minutes and minutes and minutes. But he was like one of the first people to, like, when they would train you with holding a rock under the water and that kind of stuff. But yeah, they were called frogmen, and it was a really elite group of guys, and he had flashbacks for the rest of his life. Once we were in Israel, I think I was like 16 or something, and we had to leave because the water smelled just like Korea, and he would have terrible nightmares and stuff. I would hear him screaming asleep sometimes. And I just met another person on Instagram who said her dad had terrible flashbacks from the Korean War, and I'm like, God, my dad did too. So it stayed with him his whole life, really.
Well, it's just amazing that our country couldn't be what it is without guys like your father and stuff, though.
I know, and all these guys, what a debt of gratitude we have to these people.
Yeah, because no one really knows how much they suffer afterwards. And
it's unreal. And let's not get political, but these guys have to, we just leave them out, and then everyone has, mental illness and drug abuse, of course. You're freaking traumatized. You're a kid, you're 18 years old, and your best friend gets blown up next to you, and you're supposed to go back to a normal life after you see the worst of humanity. Crazy. We have to do more for them,
I agree.
Throughout the years, just the men and women, and plus even in peacetime, there's so much, they sign their life to the country, so it's just, and they're always doing something. A lot of respect and love for them. Like you said, we got to do more, mental health thing.
That's insane when you read about it and hear stories. One of my greatest things when we had the all-girl band, we went and played the bass in San Diego. We did a lot of that kind of stuff, and that was really fun to do all those like military shows, because they're happy they didn't know what the hell we were, but they're happy to see anybody,
Right.
Bunch of cute girls up on stage dancing and singing, playing instruments.
See, I thought that Gary said it.
Yeah, it was great. We loved it, and we're happy to do it.
So we're going to be closing up here pretty soon. So I want to talk to you about what you have coming up. I know you're busy all the time. I know you got some stuff coming out here. So
first I want to tell, I have my Instagram, Hilary Shepard, but Daryl, Hannah, and I have I had this mother. My mother was called Judy, and she's a real Long Island, like what you would think. And the crazy shit can I say shit? Stuff she said to me. It's called Judaisms. It's called Judaisms. I forget what it is. I'll look it up. No offense. I gotta look it up because we had to change the name because there was other Judaisms. But I play my mother, and we do it like once a week on Fridays, and it's really funny. And I kind of wanted to stop doing because it's like every Friday, but people love it so much that I can't. So yeah, it's Judaisms.no offense. So if you want to look that up on Instagram, Daryl and I release something on Friday. She kind of directs it and helps me write it. And then I have A Husband for Christmas on right now on Lifetime, and all the Wrong movies are on. And that's about it, really. Bunch of movies on Lifetime.
And you always have Power Rangers on.
So. Oh, everywhere, and Golden Girls, and every time it's on, everyone always writes to me and tells me Star Trek's on all the time. I actually put my name in the DVR so it picks up anything. I just was on a Murder, She Wrote, or one of those with Dick Van Dyke. Diagnosis Murder was just on, so look for me in reruns.
Right. We never really talked about Power Rangers yet, so I do want to ask you.
Gotta get the Power Rangers.
Yeah, we got to get the Power Rangers in here. What got you that role? I mean, what?
This is a really interesting story, and it's good for actors to hear this. But I did a really weird low-budget movie called Hunk, and in it was a girl named Deborah Shelton. She was the lead. And every day her husband at the time would come to the set. He was Israeli, didn't speak any English, and he would watch. And he turned out to be Shuki Levy, who co-owns Saban. So told me then, I went in for my audition. I got lost on the way. I was like, I'm not even gonna get this anyway. Like, I'm gonna turn around. And I went, no, I gotta go. And I went to my audition and walked in. He's like, oh my God. I always said to myself one day I was gonna work with that girl. So he remembered me from years, maybe 20, maybe, I don't know how long, 15 years or something ago, when he'd seen me work, because I was improvising a lot on that movie. And he always said he was going to work with me. So that was so fortuitous. And I just auditioned. I'd never seen the Power Rangers. I turned it on like right before I left. And I just saw someone had crazy colored hair and they were kind of over the top. I'm like, great. So I put like a pink clip in it, and then I just went for it. And I did a lot of improvising, which actually was to my favor. And I just did like 2 auditions and I got the job. And they had originally wanted Grace Jones, who I don't know if you guys remember her. She was a disco singer, beautiful woman. And I guess she was too difficult or something. So they had to look for an unknown, and that was me. It was the best. And the day I found out I got Power Rangers, the day I found out I was pregnant with my second daughter. And I was like, oh my God, I have to wear a corset and I'm really long waisted. I'm like, I can pull this off. So in the movie, I have giant boobs and they go down and up. So we shoot out of sequence. I was getting bigger and bigger. And at the end, I was 5 months pregnant and I had the corset. I told the wardrobe girl, and she kind of made so I could let the corset out a little bit. But if you watch the movie, it's hilarious. You can see me like bursting out. And then they're like, well, we want you to do the TV series, but you can't, we've got to cover you up. And I was like, oh, these are just pregnancy boobs. But and they wanted to shoot so quickly that I couldn't do it. I was like 8-9 months pregnant. So they had Carol, another actress, Carol Hoyt, play me for the first like 20 episodes, I think. And they kept calling me every day. Did you have the baby yet? Did you have the baby yet? I'm like, I let you go. And then also, of course, Star Trek, then they wanted us to be reoccurring characters. So they were great. Power Rangers said I can do it, but I can only shoot Thursday and Fridays. And they worked it out. So I'd shoot like 10 episodes on Thursday, everything facing this way, fire the torpedoes, blah, blah, blah. And then Friday shoot the other way and get them in the can. So when people ask me a lot of questions, I remember the movie a lot better than series. I had a new baby, I was breastfeeding, and I was shooting so much at the same time, so that was crazy. But that's my favorite part. I would say Power Rangers is my most favorite part. I was born to play that character. I just knew it. You would say when it works, when you feel it, it's just so right on. It just flowed out of me.
Well, you made the character so much larger than life. So
also as a parent, I was like, let's make this funny for the parents who have to sit through this for hours. So I had a lot of subtle things. Let's get the dads interested. So it worked. So yeah, that was really fun. Got the hiccups. Yay. So I'm glad we got to talk about that. Here's my actual original mask.
Now, if fans wanted to buy that from you,
all the time. No, I mean, this is like the mold one and the rehearsal one, but there's my actual movie mask. Somebody has it. He won't say who it is. He let me borrow it when I was I know he's in Florida. He brought it to me in like this gold, box in Florida and let me wear it for my, when I'm making appearances, but he won't sell it to me. So this is the only one I have. My original one, it's much more bent and everything. So at least I have that one.
Yeah, I seen you. You wore it to. You actually wore it to our show. I think you sent us a promo from the airport with it on. So
I am always wearing this out. I love to wear it and film myself. It's so funny. I'm like, ain't you ever seen an evil queen before? What are you looking at?
And sometimes I do see Sandra Bullock now that you mentioned it.
You're right. Bitch stole my look.
Well, we're gonna have to wrap it up here. So Terry, you got any last questions?
No, thank you for coming on. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, you're great.
I had a great time talking to you guys, and you're so sweet. And best of luck with everything. And let's hope when we can travel again, I'll come back and visit you.
We'd love to have you back.
For sure.
Anything you'd like to say before we take off, Hilary?
I just want to say thank you to all my fans and followers, and I really appreciate the interactions. You're all so amazing and sweet, and it really makes my day when we can talk. And I know
I have
Wizard World.
Yep.
Saturday, 10 Pacific Standard Time, or 1 o'clock if you're on the East Coast. It's for free if you go on wizardworld.com. It's all the evil characters from the Power Rangers. We're going to answer questions, and it's just a totally free panel for everyone to just. So I suggest everyone log in and get to ask me whatever they want.
So they just go to wizardworld.com and then they can log in. And then what time is that?
It starts at 10 Pacific Standard Time on Saturday, or like 1 o'clock if you're on the East Coast.
Okay. Yeah, write that down, Terry.
Yeah, write it down. Yeah, Rita Repulsa will be there. Melody Perkins, who played Astronomum. I always had fights with her. And the guy who, he was in, what was that? He was in some, I forget what movie, but I don't know. I can't remember anymore, but they're all going to be the panel. I really sold that well, didn't I? But Vernon Wells. That's
Vernon Wells. He was in Mad Max.
There you go. He'll be on the panel, and it'll be great. So come and join in if you dare. All
right. On that note,
bye everybody.
Say bye. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be up on YouTube tomorrow, Spotify, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and all the rest here coming up in the next few days. Thank you so much. It was awesome having you on again. Can't wait to see you again.
You too. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
And Dave.